Welcome back. And in Burkina Faso, the question has remained what went wrong with Monsanto's genetically modified crop in Africa's #1 cotton grower. The country's GM experience, told by more than 3 dozen Monsanto insiders, farmers, scientists, and cotton company officials, as well as in confidential documents, highlights a little-known quandary faced by genetic engineering. The U.S. agrochemical company has already settled the farmers who lost out from lower quality cotton crops caused by its GM seeds. But the Burkinabés say they will not go back to the GM crops.
In 2000, farmers in Burkina Faso, Africa's top cotton grower, were desperate. Their cotton fetched top prices because its high-quality fiber lent a luxurious sheen to clothing and bed sheets. But there was a problem. Pests and bollworms were threatening the crop. U.S. agrochemical company Monsanto proposed an answer: a genetically modified strain of cotton called Bolgat 2, which it had already introduced in America and was being marketed worldwide. The Burkina farmers agreed to a trial, and the country introduced seeds with the genetically modified gene in 2008. The resulting cotton was pest-free and the harvest more abundant. By 2015, 3/4 of all Burkina Faso's production was genetically modified, and it became a showcase for the technology among smallholders in Africa.
Truthfully, genetically modified cotton is not good today, it's not good tomorrow. When you produce genetically modified cotton in your farm, after 2 years, you cannot plant anything else on your land.
For Burkina Faso's cotton growers, genetically modified ended up as a trade-off between quality and quantity. For Monsanto, whose $13.5 billion in revenues in 2016 were more than Burkina Faso's GDP, it proved uneconomical to tailor the product closely to a market niche.
Our main demand was that the technological aspects that are found in the Burkinabe cotton fiber be maintained as it was. But when the first harvest campaign of the new variety of Burkinabe cotton came, the Institution for Environmental and Agricultural Research conducted an evaluation and found that the length of the fiber was short, and that has been mentioned in the report. We relayed the message to Monsanto about it, and they told us that they had taken our queries into consideration and that they had taken steps to correct it in time for the sell campaign.
In 2010 to 2011, genetically modified cotton made up over half of production, but only 21% of the crop reached the previous quality standard.
We wanted to increase our production, so that is one of the reasons why we decided to use genetically modified cotton in our country. In July 2015, Monsanto wrote to the Burkina growers saying the quality problem has been offset by other benefits.
Burkina Faso's cotton continued to suffer. In 2014 to 2015, average cotton fibers from around the country were up to 2.29 millimeters shorter than the conventional strains. The cotton lost its premium pricing, and the impact was a drop in the value of its output of at least 3 cents per pound of cotton, or between 2 and 5% of the volatile global benchmark price. The country is now clawing back its reputation. In the 2016 to 2017 season, the first since its return to conventional cotton seeds, 98.8% of its production was graded as medium to long staple. And so far, the bollworms have not returned. If they do, Burkinabe officials say they aren't turning their backs on genetically modified cotton, although the country does not use the technology presently.
Back here in Nigeria, the central bank as well as financial institutions have reviewed the conditions of its agriculture and SME fund and resolved to lend to the real sector at 5% interest rate. The resolution was reached at the Bankers Committee retreat, which held over the weekend in Lagos. Briefing journalists on the outcome of the retreat, the governor of the central bank, Godwin Emefiele, explains that the fund derives from 5% of banks' profit.
fund, we looked at a couple of options. We said first that it should no longer be just equity funds, that we must sort of tweak it so that it's like some form of preference share arrangement or like a debt structure, which makes it easy for those who want to access very, very cheap finance under this scheme to do so. And I must say, in terms of pricing, the Bankers Committee felt that the pricing should not be more than 5% for those who will afford it, who are going to have it. But it will be meant primarily for real SMEs and small businesses, as the name implies. So what was agreed was that, yes, out of the fund, at least 50% will be set aside for what we call direct SME disbursement. Under the direct and SME disbursement, we said that banks will set up SME desk, MSME desk, micro, small, and medium enterprises desk. That's one. Two, on the part of Central Bank has entrepreneurial development centers in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, and indeed also have some outreach stations in different parts of the country. That the Central Bank of Nigeria, on its part, will make its enterprise development centers available to train people that are going to benefit from the fund. We're saying this will be for people who are really low on the cadre. For instance, if you have people who are into, is it cosmetics, right? Makeup business. We have so many young ladies today who would love to go into makeup business, but just what their problem is to afford the kits that they need to go into the makeup business. That we can call them, for instance, bring them under this scheme. You have people who want to do fashion designing, sewing dresses rather than import our shirts and dresses from abroad. There are some of them who are so skilled and would love to go into this kind of business. We want to make this fund available for them. There are some of them who want to go into barber shop business, hairdressing, is it hairdressing you call them? We want to make this fund available to them. Well, whereas if what some of those SMEs choose to do, for instance, is to make it easy for them to acquire, for instance, I give an example, rice harvesting machine that is not that expensive, or those that, all these are implements for agriculture that are cheap, rather than harvest in a manual form for rice, or rather than plowing them in a manual form. These machines can be procured at very low prices, not more than about 250 to 300, even let's even say 500,000 naira. And they can earn a living with that.
Mr. Godwin Emefiele, the Central Bank of Nigeria governor. And finally on the program, the global oil market prices fell today, pulled down as the latest rise in the U.S. rig count pointed to a further increase in American production, potentially undermining efforts led by OPEC to tighten markets. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures were at $57.10 a barrel, down 25 cents from their last settlement. Brent crude futures, the international benchmark for oil prices, were down 32 cents at $63.08 a barrel. The amount of rigs drilling for new oil production in the United States rose by 2 in the week to December 8 to 751, the highest level since September. And that's it on the program. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Chimezie Obi Iwago.